What's up, guys? Jake with TN Tactical out here at the property, getting ready to shoot another review for you guys, and I just happened to notice something that I thought was interesting enough to actually make its own video on. I recently caught a bunch of flack on my green slide here, namely because it was pretty worn out. We've lost the front sight, as you see. It was bought specifically for drop testing and beating the shell of red dots that companies send to us for testing and evaluation. Bought this from PSA back in I want to say March of 2023 or something. It was just the slide though, not the barrel and not the recoil spring. See, this barrel and recoil spring, they're actually the same original parts from when I first got into the PSA Dagger when it first came out. And in fact, the PSA Dagger that it came off of was one of the first videos that we ever put on the channel. I ended up giving away the slide and kept the barrel and recoil spring from that. I used it for all my videos where this barrel and recoil spring have been present. I just kind of didn't really see the point of buying multiple barrels and recoil springs when, you know, they last for a while, right? Or they're supposed to. Fast forward to about 3 years later, and we've done about 20 or so red dot reviews with the same barrel and recoil spring. Now we've swapped out slides, swapped out frames over the years as well. But the one thing that's been consistent through all of it has been the same barrel and recoil spring. But I still wanted to bring it out here to you because the huge difference that I saw in my original barrel and recoil spring. The rear sight's about toast too. Check that out. It's a little crooked there. That's just literally from being drop tested multiple times and happening to hit the brick on the rear sight there. Probably need to get that looked at too. We swapped out a lot of parts, but the barrel and the recoil spring has been the same. So it's not exactly clickbait to say that we've put 10,000 rounds through. I think we truly have. We have shot probably, if you look back on the channel, about 5 or 6 videos of just the PSA Dagger, talking about upgrades and top 5s and all kinds of stuff. And each time we do one of those videos, we shoot anywhere from 150 to 250 rounds. Then we ended up getting into red dots, starting with Sealy, then Zalissi, and a few other companies have sent us red dots for testing and evaluation, which, as you guys know, anytime we get free stuff, we beat the piss out of it. But we also like to do all the cool cinematic stuff with all the slow motion, and we essentially end up putting about 250 to 300 rounds per red dot review. We've done about 20 or so red dot reviews on this particular barrel and recoil spring, and we've even done multiple videos for some dots. For example, the Zalissi, the 3 red dots we mag dumped and tested, and the 3 or 4 grain dots. In each of those, we put about at least 200 rounds, if not more, for each of those individual dots. Trying to math it out in my head, I'm not going to give you the exact number. I'm not going to be able to give you the exact number, but I would estimate we have put in about 10,000 rounds on the same barrel and recoil spring. Not the same slide again. We've gone through a couple different slides at this point. The barrel and the recoil spring has been through a lot. Looking back, I saw there was a few other videos that led me to think that maybe I need to go ahead and get a different slide, which I did. We have that FDE slide with all the cool looking tactical cuts in there. And when I got that, I also bought a couple extra barrels from PSA, actual PSA barrels that they sell separately for their Dagger. When I got them, I noticed they were a little bit different than mine. As you can see here, they're a lot different. Number one is the length. The barrel that I have originally is just slightly longer, like a 1/4 inch longer. In fact, it comes out of the slide a little bit more than the barrels that they sell now. The flat dark earth and the black are exactly the same. They've both got the same barrels, they've both got the same recoil springs, and they look identical, even though they were bought slightly at different times. Whereas the original in the middle there, that green slide, you'll see it just looks significantly different with the recoil spring as well as how much the barrel protrudes out. But never mind the fact that's dirtier, whereas the black and the FDE, they sit flush with the actual slide itself. As far as the rifling goes of the barrel, you'll see that the rifling on the original is kind of wore out, whereas the new barrel is really nice and smooth, perfect rifling. As far as the actual tip of them go, they both have the same exact pattern there. As you can see, they both look exactly the same. It's just the one that's dirtier is a lot more marred up on the inside there. Then I started looking more closely, and I noticed there's different head stamping. Like you'll see there's like an M stamp on the newer barrel here, whereas there is almost nothing pretty much on the original barrel. They mark 9x19 on the side of it, which they don't necessarily do on the original barrel either. That's fine, it's not a big deal. I was kind of surprised by the extra length though, and differences and the quality. Now, granted, my original one's clearly got a lot more carbon and buildup of dirt and debris and crap on it, and it's all black as all get out. But I imagine if I cleaned it up, it would probably look polished and shiny and chrome-like, just like right next to it there. Well, then I started noticing something kind of unique about the top of the barrel. And this is actually why I bought more barrels, because I wanted to compare and see what it looked like to what they have now. As you can see, the top edge where the slide and barrel together there, how it unlocks, it's kind of crimped up a little bit. It's kind of been hit so many times that, well, literally the metal looks like it's getting squished. And now there's a clear gap between the slide and the barrel, like a good 1 to 2 millimeters gap where there's just no engagement at all. Compare that to this brand new PSA Dagger. You'll see it fits perfectly, snug, flush, all that good stuff. There's no issues. Like, imagine if this barrel is made of Play-Doh and over time it got squished back. Like, it's not just getting pushed back, it's also coming up a little bit too, like a little bit of a lip there that sits above the actual slide. Now you can really see if I zoom in super tight. You see that? It's like a huge 1 or 2 millimeter gap from the slide and barrel there. And it's sort of like crimped up now. Check it out. See that? Whoa, nope, not my face. You'll see it kind of crimps up a little bit now, if I can get the focus. Higher than it's supposed to. Okay. Kind of, yeah, that's a good angle. Look at that. It's pretty wild. And that kind of inspired me to make this video for you, to show you what it looks like when you've got a barrel that's been through like 10,000 rounds. Is this a PSA quality issue? I'm not really sure. I mean, you guys tell me in the comments below. Have you had your barrels last longer? Be honest. I know we all like to say, oh, I put 10,000 through this barrel, no problem, blah, blah, blah. Or my 10 million rounds, no malfunctions. Be honest here, though. How many rounds have you really put through your gun? If you've got a PSA Dagger, did it look like this? My guess would be that it's just to a point now where I question if it's causing more issues with the brass hitting glass. Another thing I want to point out, though, is the recoil spring. You'll notice that the recoil spring is actually a little bit different, too. It actually comes out a little bit more. It's actually got like a little hex design there, a little hexagonal deal there. I imagine if you wanted to, you could probably take like a little Allen wrench and unscrew and take the whole spring out, replacing the spring if you need to. More recent designs don't have this. Now, they just have a normal flat bit that you can't swap out the spring or anything even if you want to, as far as I know, unless there's another mechanism to actually do that. You're pretty much stuck with the spring that you have. Again, just kind of a quick video here. I know it's not as exciting as some of the other stuff we put out, but I just had to talk about, it really caught my attention, and I just wanted to bring it to your attention too and see what you guys think. See if y'all had any of the same issues or ever saw this happen to your barrels, whether it's a PSA Dagger or a Glock or I guess SIG if you swing that way. I'm really curious. So yeah. Different video, but it's a good video. It's important. It's information for you to be aware of. Guys, that's going to wrap it up there. Remember, to do this kind of content, make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below. What do you think about these changes from the original barrel and recoil spring to what we see now? I'd love to hear from you. We will see you next time. The new recoil spring kind of sucks. Not sure why. My old recoil spring is awesome though. It runs way more reliably. I guess it's lower poundage because of use.